All right, good morning. It is May the 23rd, 2023 at 11:55 in the morning. We are here at Chickaloon at the King Mountain State Recreation Park. I'm going to give you a walkthrough of this park. It's actually a beautiful park right on the edge of the Matanuska River. Chickaloon is about 15-20 minutes, well, not even that, 10-15 minutes further out than Palmer. So it's actually not far, maybe an hour from Anchorage. So let's get right to it. This is a beautiful little park. There are some quirks to know about this place if you come here, but if you're looking for just a quick little day trip, maybe a weekend, this is a beautiful park to take your family to. So let's get on to it. Thank you. All right, let's go ahead and get going. Again, we are here in Chickaloon at the King Mountain State Recreation Site. 5, 10, 15 minutes maybe further out from Palmer. So if you Anchorage, Palmer, and then Chickaloon, you can look this up. A little community here. 33915 King Mountain State Recreation Park site. Has RV sites and tent sites. It's an absolutely beautiful place. So let's go ahead and walk through. It is noon on May the 23rd, 2023. So most of the sites are empty right now, so I don't have to be as careful as I have been in the past about invading people's privacy or talking past them. But as we walk around, the sites that are full that has somebody in it, I'll keep a little bit quieter, won't talk as much, and I certainly am not going to videotape their stuff. I haven't looked at a map, but I assume that's King Mountain right there. Bring your binoculars. You can sometimes catch some mountain goat up there. It's a beautiful mountain. And then on the other side of those trees at the end of this road, there's the Matanuska River. So again, this is just an absolutely beautiful site. Okay, so let's go ahead and walk our way through this King Mountain State Recreation Site. It's Alaska State Park. So, all right, there's a gate here. They do close when it's heavy snow, but here in May they're open. All right, if you camp more than once, you'll recognize the fee station here on the right. Okay, this is old style. They don't take a credit card. Okay, so you put your fee in an envelope here and pick your site. Come back. You're supposed to do this within 30 minutes of arrival. Pick your site, come back, and put your. They have these fee envelopes here. Little pin in there. Fill it out. $25 per night. Okay. Couple things. It doesn't say it here. I think it might say it on the fee envelope, but you can reserve online sites. So go to Alaska State Parks, and there's a link on online, so you can make reservations here. What that means, you don't have to. Okay, but what that does mean is that if you do not make a reservation here and you arrive, you'll want to stop by the camp host, because if you're staying for just one night, then you just find an empty spot, and we'll talk about that here in a minute of how to find an empty spot here. But if you're staying for more than a couple nights, you're going to want to let the host know so that they can check the schedule to make sure you're not picking a reserved site. I do not know if you show up here. I have a Alaska State Park pass. There's a couple categories that you can get. So I have an annual pass for a camping pass. So I don't know if I showed up here and there was an empty spot today, but tomorrow it's reserved, who would take precedence? My camping pass or their online reservation? I don't know that. So if you are going to stay here, try to make a reservation. If you just drop by, make sure you stop at the host site up here, and we'll walk by that here in a minute. But that is a little ooly I learned today. So when you're staying at the Alaska State Parks, especially when you're within a day trip of Anchorage, some of the parks, the RV parks do have an online reservation option. So you're going to want to check with the host. Okay. We'll walk down here a little bit, but there's nothing super special about this RV, about the sites themselves. Basic site. Park your RV here. Got a little fire pit there. You can burn dead branches and trees that are down. You can't cut anything, of course, that's common sense. You'll also see somebody, I'll just go walking right up here. Birch trees, you can take the outer layer of bark off a birch tree, and we're talking about this right here, and use it for crafts and stuff. That's a very common craft item that you know, settlers, the old timers, whatever, would use for various things. You can make birch bark canoes if it's a good enough tree. Don't take the bark off birch trees in public parks. Okay, it doesn't kill the tree. It doesn't look nice, of course, but it doesn't kill the tree. The tree will recover just fine. But it's don't do that. That's just bad manners. Nobody's here. I'll just do a quick little deal. You can have a campfire. Go ahead and run your campfire in the pit. Several of these, the grate on top isn't in good condition, so make sure, you know, double check that if you're going to have a fire. Picnic table, and that's about it. Okay. All right, let's walk down here. Like I said, this park is mostly empty. Okay, so I don't have to be too careful. But as you're coming in, okay, continue on the main road, it'll split down here. And it's one way to the left, so you'll go to the left. All right, here before the split is the camp host, a gentleman by the name of Bob. Nice enough fellow, I suppose. Don't think he's here now, his truck's gone, but this is the camp host. So if you have not made a reservation, okay, stop here at the camp host and let him know that you're looking for a site and that you have not made a reservation. So if you're going to be here more than 1 or 2 nights, or should I say more than one, you definitely want to check in with the camp host to make sure you're not going to have a conflict with somebody who did make a reservation. Okay, again, bring your binoculars, guys. It's absolutely gorgeous view here. We'll get down to the river here in a minute, but this place is beautiful. Okay, all right, one way, so we'll walk down the one way. Okay, all right. There are no site hookups for water or sanitary dumps, sand dumps. Okay, they do have a latrine here. If you watch more than 1 or 2 of my videos, you know I'm not going to go in there, but I will say that at least here in May, early in the season, the latrine, the pit latrine there is in good shape. It's clean, fully stocked, and so not anything that you'd be horrified to use. We'll see what happens later in the summer if we come back here. There's a little bucket there. Where are we here? Right there. That's for dog waste. Please pick up after your dog. There's nothing more disgusting than walking through somebody else's mess. Okay. All right. Here is another one of the sites. Now, this is I wanted to talk about. This site. Now, I haven't seen this in any of the other sites here in Alaska yet. But this little red flag here on site number 6. Okay. That means that this is reserved for tonight. Okay, so if you come in, if you haven't made a reservation, and you don't have to, but if you come in and you're driving around, and I didn't know this, I had to ask, but for this site, that red flag means it's reserved for tonight. Now, whoever reserved it's not here yet. You know, it's noon. Expect them to get here later. But for this site, that means it's reserved. So what that tells me is that for other sites, if reservations are possible, look for some sort of marker, you know, maybe a milk jug or another flag or something. I have not seen that red flag anywhere else but this site. But that means that this site is reserved for tonight. So be aware of that if you don't make a reservation. All right. So we'll walk down here. That was site number 6. See, that's site number 7 up here. Got a big rock marking the site, but there's no flag, so that means it's not reserved for tonight. So this would be open for anyone who wanted to just drop in. But if you're going to stay for a couple nights, check in with the camp host. Make sure it's not reserved for tomorrow night. Okay, come around here to the, and I'll be a little quieter. I got a RV off to my right here. I'll be a little bit quieter, but this little symbol here means this is where the water is. Okay, so let's go check out the water. Okay, it's not a hookup, there's no hose, it's a pump. Compared to a couple of the other pump sites hand pump sites. This one actually works pretty good. Pretty easy to pump, gets good water. Okay, right off the bat, you're getting water. So the water table is obviously very low. The river is right through those trees. We'll go take a look at that in here in a second. And this seems like it's good water. Clear, tastes good. However, of course, there's the standard, not our fault if you poison yourself. They do recommend you boil it, and they actually ask you to do any of your fish cleaning or washing about 200 feet. And they have the catch-all phrase, not our fault if you don't boil it and you get sick. However, we've been drinking it for the last couple days. We're just fine. Okay. All right, to the right of the water, a little bit closer to the river. Excuse me. They have a pavilion here. Very basic. It's got a little barbecue pit in it. You can rent. I don't know how much it is. It's not something that we needed, so we didn't look up. But there's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tables, a couple fire pits, and then the actual little barbecue building itself has a very basic barbecue setup here. And put your charcoal in here. It's got a little roasting pan. I would not eat anything off that if I were you. So bring your own cast iron, bring your own Dutch oven, bring your own whatever you're cooking with. But it does have a place to set your pots and pans, but there's no pots and pans themselves. Okay? And then inside here, there's another couple tables. So the adults can set up a card game, maybe an adult beverage station. And let the kids play outside. Little bit of graffiti here and there, okay, but nothing that I would I'd be either afraid of or want to keep my kids from reading and get bright ideas. So just Kyla loves somebody whose name starts with E. Okay, that kind of graffiti. Nothing too bad. Okay, and then we'll go back out here. We'll walk down to the river here for a second. And again, absolutely gorgeous. Okay. There's a sign here that says danger swift current, and that is no joke. You'll see here in a second. Guys, watch your kids. Alaska rivers are not forgiving. They're cold and they're fast. Okay. This is actually one of the safer beaches, approaches. The water's fairly shallow. The kid's not going to fall in and disappear. But kids have a way of finding trouble where you least expect. So keep track of your kids near the water. But if they're not in the water, there's actually a pretty magnificent beach here for them to play on. Lots of rocks. They'll have fun collecting rocks. And this is the Matanuska River. Okay, you have a big beach all the way up. You have some magnificent views. The river is glacial silt, so as most rivers are in Alaska. There's our King Mountain. Okay. All the way down there. So there's lots of room for your kids and dogs to run around. It's Alaskan river, so I imagine there's probably some sort of fish in there, maybe a king or two for salmon runs, but this isn't where I go fishing. So you can bring your rod if you want. I highly doubt you'll catch anything, but the fisherman heart, hope springs eternal, but this is not what I would call a fishing river. Okay, there are some companies that'll do a rafting trip down here, and that I haven't done that, but that seems like an absolute blast. Okay. So there you are. Okay, that's the beach here at the King site. We'll pop back up and continue on. Now it's May 23rd, and if you aren't familiar with Alaska, then you've certainly heard about our mosquitoes up here, and the mosquitoes are starting to come out. Okay, so it's not so bad that it's horrible, but they are starting to come out. So a little bit of bug dope is fine. But the other thing to do is make sure you pick a place that has a little bit of wind. It's amazing the difference between a little bit of wind with the mosquitoes up here. That doesn't mean there aren't going to be any. There'll always be some. But the site that we picked, we actually intentionally picked it. You know, we got out and went, okay, there's a little bit of wind here. And I killed a couple mosquitoes last night, but it wasn't horrible at all. Okay. Again, there's an RV up here to my right, so I'm gonna politely avoid panning over there with the video. And we're back on the road. All right. Now, if you get here during the week, or just get lucky, then some of these sites right up here that we're coming on might be open, and they're right on the river. Absolutely gorgeous sites. There does seem to be a truck up here, so maybe someone's setting up for tonight. Again, I'm not going to videotape them too much. Oh, I did forgot to mention there's a bench overlooking the river up here. You can see it through the trees there, up in there. Sit there and watch the river go by. Okay, it is Tuesday, so it's fairly empty right now. But this place was mostly full over the weekend. Okay, so if you don't make a reservation, have a backup plan if you're coming up here on a weekend or during a holiday season. It's not guaranteed that you'll get a spot. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and shut up as we pass these folks up here. Don't want to disturb them. Alright, we're mostly past those couple picnicking over there. Here's your obligatory, you're in Alaska. Watch what you do with your food. And if you see them, whether it's a moose or a bear, give them space. Okay, you're not in a zoo. Okay, if you're far enough away, you're in your car, go ahead and take some pictures, don't get closer. If you're not familiar with how to read a bear, then take the time to read these posts. If you're wondering, fireworks are prohibited. Let's check the other side over here. Alright, just some general warnings. Food and odors attract bear. Run a clean camp. That's the best thing you can do when you're camping in Alaska. Run a clean camp. Keep the food under control. Now, I didn't walk down here the other day. I guess spaces 15 through 24 are down here. Okay. I think we have to. We're back up here. Here's the host site. So we made a bit of a loop. Okay. Again, it is Tuesday at noon. So there is one RV and one couple picnicking here. That is not the case on the weekends. This place is full. So check the reservations or take your chances. But that is our tour of the King Mountain Alaska State Recreation Site. One last look at King Mountain here, and it is just a gorgeous, gorgeous day here, folks. So if you're looking for a pretty easy stay close to Anchorage, again, if you come in here, look for the little red flags we talked about earlier. This site doesn't have it, so it's open. But if you don't have a reservation, stop and check with the host. Make sure that everything's deconflicted. But other than that, thank you very much for your time, and enjoy the RV life. Bye-bye.